You're tuning in to the Camp W podcast. Here's your host, Director Evan Wapsie.
Welcome to the Camp W podcast, where we have conversations about camp. I'm your host, Evan Wapsie, Director of Camp W. And today we have the great, very, very special guy, Kevin Lau, our Upper Camp Director. Kevin, how you doing today?
Doing great, Evan. Thank you so much for having me here. Very exciting.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and I know our listeners are going to get an awful lot today from this podcast because all your information, and I know you've been preparing for the podcast, so this is going to be great. So, Kev, I always ask everyone the first question, what brought you to Camp W?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, Evan, during the school year, I worked part-time as a chaperone for your company, the Bar Mitzvah Bouncers, and after nearly a year with the company, you've approached me with an opportunity to join your day camp as a counselor. You believed in my energy, enthusiasm, and experience in supervising children, both as a teacher and chaperone, which would make a great fit for Camp W. And having never attended a traditional day camp growing up, I was really excited about the chance to be part of this experience.
Well, I think that was a pretty good move on my half because I guess 7 years later it kind of worked out pretty good.
Here,
so
here.
It's been great, and thrilled to have you. And, the campers, they love you, staff loves you, so it's been a great fit. So, can you explain to everyone, what's your role as the Upper Camp Director?
Well, as the Upper Camp Director at Camp W, my daily responsibilities involve supporting you and the camp's overall operations, which means to ensure a smooth and enjoyable experience for our upper campers. This includes assisting in managing the daily schedule while supervising both the staff and the campers with any needs that may arise. Some of my key responsibilities include, when it comes to program development, planning with you throughout the year to collaborate and design our unique upper camp event programs.
And by the way, you do a great job of that. We want to add that to our listeners.
Yeah, and it's part of the planning process that makes it so successful, which we'll talk about later. I also partner up with our technology team to create and coordinate virtual open houses, as well as just trying to enhance parent communication. When it comes to staff supervision, I oversee the training, create the training programs for it with the slides, and of course the management of counselors and staff assigned to Upper Camp. So overall, the goal is really to provide them with the guidance and support they need to create a positive and safe environment for our campers. Moving on, we also have our camper supervision, which I definitely prioritize a lot of my time, where I closely monitor the well-being and behavior of our upper campers and addressing any concerns that, to promptly ensure a safe and enjoyable experience.
Can I ask you, what do you think is harder, supervising the staff or the campers?
Well, you know what? Throughout the day, you have to do both.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is, as someone who's wheeling around on that electric unicycle in several acres of field space, that you have to make sure the staff is, following the proper protocols, but also the campers doing their part to ensure that everyone has a very nice vibe.
You know what I love about you? You're so serious, and it was kind of like a trick question, but it was great. But but people should realize, and they don't. If you can visualize you on that, Kevin has you call it a wheel?
Yeah, it's an
electric unicycle where he can go all over the camp. So if anyone has been to camp, we've got 7 acres of playing field in the back. So Kevin can be down by the baseball field, and then he's just on the unicycle, and within 2 seconds, he's all the way up by the gym, indoors in the basketball. So you've got the advantage over everyone else, myself included, of getting anywhere the quickest because of that unicycle.
But
it's
also
great.
Safe in case parents are worried.
No, absolutely. But it's great. It adds something to camp, and people who have seen you at camp, they're always like, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah, of course. And then also when it comes to communication. For Upper Camp, I serve as the primary point of contact for parents. So not only do we provide updates on their children's experiences and addressing any questions or concerns, the regular communication I have with parents, staff, and fellow directors is key to maintaining the alignment and addressing issues proactively. So parents can text me, or I can defer text to the counselors as well, and just follow up if there are any questions that may arise. Also, when it comes to leadership, I strive to be a role model and leader within camp, just like you. I try to foster a positive and inclusive atmosphere, which means we encourage teamwork amongst the staff, as well as their personal growth. And also when it comes to campers, skill development is really important. And of course, I always do this while enjoying riding on that wheel. So-
Sounds like you really don't need me at camp anymore.
No, I do.
Wow, it's impressive. I mean, it's great for people to hear this, and I know from working with you on a daily basis is you wear many hats at camp, and you really do a great job. So from all of us at camp, just want to thank you for that.
No worries. I mean, in essence, the role is really to ensure our 5th and 9th grade campers have a great, memorable, and enriching summer. And we all work tirelessly, whether it's Kathy, Sean, myself, Ben, all the directors have a part, play a key role, and I do my best to ensure I support Upper Camp. That's really it.
That's great. All right, so here's my next question. Why do you think campers get so excited to join Upper Camp? Middle camp, they're experiencing those choice periods for the first time, and they're obviously changing from kiddie camp, but like the excitement to go to Upper Camp. Why do you think that is?
I think, there are a few reasons why I think campers love the oldest camp division. Firstly, the entire afternoon is electives, right? So campers have that independence,
right?
Which is something they grow into.
Right. So like middle camp having 2 periods in the afternoon, and campers in 5th through 9th, their whole entire afternoon is just what they want to do. So that's a good point.
Yeah, and having choice is really important. That's why the electives, being that they're choice periods, they throughout the 6-week cycle, every 2 weeks, they're learning something new. And it changes. It's really a really good thing for them to look forward to as they enter Upper Camp. Another reason, once you're a junior, you finally get to go on trips once a week,
sure.
Whereas the seniors go on trips 3 times a week. Yeah. And it's something the campers love because, they spend all that time kind of growing in our camp, but now they get that independence to go out and explore as well.
In the podcast, when Sean was here, Sean went into depth about the trips and all the excitement, at least. But the one thing we universally all agree upon is that the campers, after being in camp for whatever, it's 4 years, 5 years, and they're in 7th grade, now all of a sudden they're leaving camp once a week, and then seniors leaving 3 times a week. It does change like what they're doing. So it's
and just in passing and in conversation with campers, I will say that they sometimes will express how grateful they are because all the trips they go into in the duration of camp will outtrip all the trips they would go with their parents throughout
absolutely.
the whole year.
So
they're super
it's definitely
happy about it.
That's great. That's great.
And of course, every Thursday morning we have this unique, Upper Camp event, which is exclusive to Upper Camp, just like Middle Camp and Kiddie Camp have their own special event. And this is where we know team building is extremely important at the camp atmosphere, and then some of it includes forging stronger relationships between campers and staff, as well as improving their communication, boosting a camper's confidence and problem-solving skills. So with all this being said, one of our many popular team building events in the unique Upper Camp event is the Island Hopping Challenge. So just want you all to imagine all our Upper Campers and staff working together, trying to make it across the field by jumping from one pizza box to the next. Shout out to Mario's Pizza, by the way. So imagine, this is probably a similar activity you would do in physical education class growing up. However, I want you to imagine, all the groups on one end of the field. And you'll have, the campers and staff working together, each group being given only 14 empty pizza boxes when there's maybe 15 or 16 people. And they're trying to make it to the other side when they're paving, a pathway for each other. So you have all this off-task time where, everyone is just, on task, barely any off-task time. The field is filled with laughter, cheering, and excitement. Everyone's working together. And it's a really, really fun event that we do in about 30 minutes.
So, I've always watched, I can always tell when these events going on, whether it's kiddie camp, middle camp, or upper camp, because you're hearing that rah-rah. Obviously, you're seeing over 100 campers in a certain area, whether it's kiddie camp. Yeah. But what I always think is funny with the older kids is no matter what grade they're in, they seem to love this. When you've had that beach ball where the kids are all smacking, the pizza box or whatever the case may be. The kids are just, the energy level is so loud and it's so enjoyable to watch. It's great. You guys do a great job with it. So
it's really the best of both worlds. But
that's awesome. That's great. Usually campers entering 6th grade, when they're at day camp, they tend to go to sleepaway camp at that point, or they're going to teen tours, both very popular. Why do you think campers in our program tend to stay? Like, what's your thought process?
That's
on
really
that?
a good question. I mean, I think campers stay in a program because we have a wide variety of activities that we offer. 85 to be exact, right? That covers athletics, creative arts, unique activities that you can all find on our camp website, and it rivals many of the sleepaway camps. It's perfect for those who might not feel comfortable being away from home for a long time, but still want a diverse camp experience.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I never went sleepaway camp, and I think that's why I've loved day camp my whole life so much, because I never wanted to go away. I liked, going to camp, having that atmosphere, and then coming home and sleeping in my own bed and air conditioning, and the thought of sleeping in a bunk was just not for me. And sleepaway camps offer a phenomenal experience for campers, but for kids who don't want that, I tend to agree with you. I mean, that's kind of like where my background is from, always being a day camp.
Yeah, and then our campers, they also look forward to the trips we go on. Weeks 8 and 9, all the campers get to go on exciting excursions. And as mentioned before, juniors going on trips once a week and seniors 3 times a week during the first 6 weeks of camp. I mean, we're always striving to improve and introduce new activities that make it fresh, both indoor and outdoor. So as the camper has been with camp since kiddie camp, middle camp, it's always different. So they're always looking forward to something new. They're not tired. They don't get bored of it.
And I think that not just a selling point for new campers, but a selling point for returning campers. That's what I always hear the kids say, the parents say, like, I like how you're doing this year. You're doing a science lab this year, and now you're doing some, it's, and I think it's good for campers. As much as they love our activities, it's always good to stay fresh. So, you've been the director of Upper Camp for 5 years now. What do you see some of the changes that have happened over your experience, in that time frame at Camp W?
Wow, there's been a lot. I will say, since my first year at camp, our numbers have grown about 15% in enrollment. We've added new activities and made changes based on feedback from campers and parents. Every year to keep things fresh and exciting. As our population has increased, we've expanded the number of rooms inside the building that we use and added more activities outside to match. When it comes to our leadership structure, with leaders now in every single division and one for trips as well with Sean, we're growing.
Better supervision.
100%.
Do you know when I first started the camp, it was myself and Debbie as my assistant, what have you. It was just the two of us. Now, we didn't have many campers, but it was just two of us doing everything. And then, obviously, the camp grew and grew. So
So, with now having leaders in each division, we also improved on our supervision as well as our nursing support. So now we have an indoor nurse and an outside nurse. Right, 2 nurses at camp. Our operation team doubled from 2 to 4, enhancing the efficiency and flow of our daily activities. And as mentioned before, seniors used to go on trips once a week. Now they're going on trips 3 times a week, while juniors, they never get to go on trips. And now they're going on trips once a week, right? And the high demand of our arts classes, now we have an art instructor for every single division. And we also have 2 cooking instructors, because it's just such a popular activity that all these campers want. And we want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to do so. Water slides, it used to be just water slide Wednesdays. Now, with this heat, 3 times, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And on our Mondays and Fridays where we do a bounce house, we also change the slide so that every single week, every other week, it's a different slide. So the kids are being exposed to all this fun. And it wasn't like that before. Gaga, it grew from 1 pit to now 2, because we've added some inflatable ones, because whatever is popular, we have.
Great. So here's a personal question I ask you, and I think our listeners are going to enjoy hearing your response. You've got 2 children of your own who attend Camp W. What is it like seeing your children every day at work? And from a parent's perspective, even though you're working at camp, to be able to see them, just in passing, whatever, just talk to us about that.
Well, it truly warms my heart to reflect on the incredible dedication and hard work our camp staff put in every day to ensure our campers have a phenomenal experience. And as I move around camp, or as I zip around camp, supervising, assisting, and connecting with campers, I'm reminded of that dedication. When I catch glimpses of my son Liam in kiddie camp, or my daughter Mariana in middle camp, their smiles and laughter speak volumes. The stories they share on the way to and from camp fill the joy, excitement, and just the praise they have for their counselors are a testament to the wonderful environment we have cultivated. Now, as a parent, hearing how much they enjoy their time at camp is really gratifying. That's what truly motivates me, is witnessing firsthand the positive impact we have on our campers. But when parents share stories of their children achieving their goals, blossoming into confident social individuals, and coming home happy yet eager to return the next day after these long days, it just fills me with pride. The summer has just been filled with laughter, learning, and just creating core memories with their camp friends. So whether it's them mastering new skills, trying out sports, or diving into creative arts, our campers are not just having fun, they're growing. And I feel confident that my children and all the campers that are returning to the school year are even more prepared.
So, Kevin, how long does it take for your kids to fall asleep on that car ride home, usually?
On the way home, probably about 5 to 10 minutes.
That's got to be nice.
Yeah,
the car ride home they get, because that's what parents, when I always say them, I always talk to parents about a new parent. I'll say, if you're going to be doing regular pickup or late care, certain days I can guarantee you by the time you get down the block, your child will be sleeping in the back seat. And then they laugh at me, and by the end of summer, they're like, Evan, I remember you told me. And now it's like they're sleeping by the time we're down the block at the first traffic light. And I say it's because, you're experiencing all this fun. You're outside in the heat, and you're going in the air conditioning inside. You're back outside, you're running around all day long. They're going to be exhausted at the end of the day. So.
But what's funny is they'll just get back up right away early morning and get ready for the next day.
Well, that's I always say that's the best part about camp. As tired as you are, you want to go to bed because you're excited, to go for the next day.
Yeah.
So at this point in the podcast, I always end with this last question, and I'm excited to hear your response because so far you've given us a wealth of information about Camp W. I'm loving it. Yeah. I'm sure our listeners get a lot. But so it does come to my last question. In your opinion, what do you think makes Camp W such a special place for children?
Camp W is truly a unique and special place. We, as a team, work tirelessly to transform it into a place where there's, new experiences and opportunity. Also while providing, a safe and nurturing space where campers can build relationships, make lasting friendships, and learn new things, gain confidence, and feel like being valued as part of their group's family. Every inch of our space, both inside and out, is adorned with vibrant red and blue fencing, decorations, signage, and equipment, creating an immersive world that feels just like Camp W.
Hey, when you say that, I think to myself, like, we're at camp setup, and like it's just plain grass. There's nothing out there, and then like 24 hours later, the transition. You ever see those things on YouTube?
Yeah.
How
we should do a time lapse.
Yeah, we should do that because it is pretty cool to see. Like, you just have the chain link fence. The fields are so bare and nothing, and like 24 hours later, it's like we're home and here's camp again. The tents are up, and
Yeah, apparently Google Maps, like, they don't take pictures during the summer because when you look up Birchwood on it, it doesn't show anything of camp.
But maybe we'll do that video.
Yeah, but I will say, listen, when families do visit the building for the Birchwood School, it's not uncommon for students to assume that the school always looks as magical as it does during the camp season, only to be disappointed when we tell them, "Hey, it's only camp." That's not how.
Because it's funny, guys. Because I've had parents say to me in the winter, my child wanted to go by camp, and they get so disappointed because it doesn't look like Camp W. And I say, I know we don't keep it up when the summer's over. We have to take everything down, and the kids are getting excited for camp in the springtime, and so I hear that remark a lot.
And, in addition to my own 2 children having an incredible time, I'm just confident that Camp W provides an environment where all campers can grow. And I just want to emphasize, the small group ratio, where we're ranging from 12 to 15 campers with 3 to 4 adults, including counselors and activity staff. It just strikes the perfect balance. I mean, it's large enough for campers to engage in a group activity to build collaboration, but small enough to receive that individualized attention so they don't feel lost in the crowd. And in some camps where, groups may be too large or whether the staff is not as experienced, they might miss out on opportunities, right? So at Camp W, our staff ensures that your child will thrive and be in a very nice setting.
Well, that's why I know so many parents say to us, or they say to me on the phone, Evan, I love the fact that most of your counselors are school teachers. Mm-hmm. I always think that is such a wonderful point for us, to keep in our back pocket, that our staff has the experience, the education, how to speak to children. 100%. They have that rapport. Yep. So we've got that skill set. And I think that it handles the supervision well because of our experienced school teachers. Absolutely. But listen, everything you're saying, I agree 100%. And your commitment and enthusiasm to camp is one of the reasons why, 8 years ago, I thought you'd be a really good fit for camp, and it's turned out, and it's been great. And I got to tell you, today's podcast, I think people learn a lot from listening to the information that you gave today, and I think it was great. And this has been a really, really fun time, and I'm just excited for the upcoming summer. And I want to get you back on another podcast, and there's so many things we could talk about.
100%. I'm glad to be here.
But thank you so much, and I want to thank everyone for listening to the Camp W podcast, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. With your host, Evan Walksy. Yeah.